Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln pennies coin that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating and surprisingly valuable coins hiding in plain sight, the 2009 United States Lincoln penny. Yes, you heard that right. That little copper-colored coin you've probably walked past 100 times or maybe even tossed in a jar could actually be one of the rarest and most sought-after modern coins by collectors today. And guess what? Some of these pennies have sold for the kind of money that could change your life. So stay tuned, and keep your eyes sharp, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for in your change. You might even find a fortune in your own home. Let's get into it. In 2009, the United States Mint released a special series of Lincoln cents to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent itself, which first appeared in 1909. But 2009 wasn't just any year, it marked a turning point for this humble penny. Instead of a single design, the Mint released 4 unique reverse designs, each representing a different chapter in Abraham Lincoln's life: his birth and early childhood in Kentucky, his formative years in Indiana, his professional life in Illinois, and finally, his presidency in Washington, D.C. These 4 designs were celebrated by collectors from the start, but what many people don't realize is that some of these 2009 Lincoln pennies have incredibly rare errors, and those errors are where things get exciting. These aren't your everyday coins. They're the hidden gems in the world of numismatics. Now, let's talk about what makes them valuable. Point 1. Of the most desirable errors in the 2009 Lincoln cent series comes from the formative years design, which shows young Lincoln sitting on a log reading a book, with a tool in his hand. If you look closely at this version, you may notice an important detail: Lincoln's fingers. Some of the error coins from this batch show extra fingers, a doubling or additional line near his hand or thumb, which is not part of the original design. This error is called a double die or an extra finger variety. If you find one of these in great condition, it could be worth serious money. There are other double die errors in the early childhood and presidency designs too. These usually show up as doubling in the text, especially in the words "e pluribus unum," or strange distortions in Lincoln's coat or architectural features in the background. In rare cases, collectors have discovered struck-through errors, where foreign material got in the way during minting, creating a unique indentation or pattern on the coin's surface. These are true one-of-a-kind coins, and collectors go wild for them. Now you might be wondering, how can I spot one? You don't need a lab or a magnifying machine. A good quality jeweler's loupe or magnifying glass will do the trick. Examine the coin carefully, especially around the fingers, lettering, and architectural elements. Look for anything unusual, extra lines, shadows, or shapes that don't match up with the typical design. Condition is everything. A 2009 Lincoln penny with a rare error is valuable, but if it's also in mint or uncirculated condition, that value can multiply dramatically. Coins that are clean, scratch-free, and still have that original shine, these are the ones collectors are willing to pay top dollar for, and it's not just talk. Some of these error pennies have actually sold in public auctions for astonishing prices. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars in legitimate sales, yes, for a coin that was originally worth just 1 cent. The buzz around these coins is real, and interest is only growing as more collectors try to complete their Lincoln bicentennial sets. So whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about coins, you need to be checking your change, searching through old coin jars, or revisiting your childhood coin collection. You never know when one of these little copper treasures might show up. Now here's the part you've all been waiting for. One of the rarest 2009 Lincoln pennies, with an extraordinary error and preserved in pristine condition, has been sold for an eye-popping amount. Yes, one of these rare pennies was sold for $90,000. $90,000 for a penny. So if that doesn't make you take a second look at your spare change, I don't know what will. Let me know in the comments if you've ever come across a 2009 Lincoln penny, especially with one of the special designs. Do you think you might have one of the rare error versions? Or do you have other coins you're curious about? Drop a comment below, and I might cover your coin in the next video. and if you enjoyed this dive into rare pennies, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss a hidden treasure. Top 2, we're taking a deep dive into a coin that may look completely ordinary, but could secretly be worth a small fortune. So before you toss another penny in the tip jar or drop it in a parking meter, listen closely. Because if that penny happens to be a 1970 Lincoln cent with a D, a mint mark, you might be holding something truly special. This isn't just a coin, it's a mystery, a rare gem, and for the lucky few, a life-changing discovery. Now let's rewind the clock. The year was 1970. The United States Mint in Denver was busy producing millions of 1-cent coins featuring the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln. At first glance, these coins seem like just another part of your pocket change. But hidden among the sea of common pennies are a few incredibly rare and valuable varieties, coins that collectors go crazy for, and today, we're going to show you exactly what makes the 1970 Lincoln penny so rare, how to spot the differences, and why this unassuming little coin is one of the most hunted pieces in American coin collecting. Let's get into the good stuff. The standard 1970 Lincoln penny is made from a copper alloy and features Lincoln's portrait on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But not all 1970 pennies are created equal. There are very specific errors and varieties that turn this ordinary coin into something truly extraordinary. One of the most famous varieties is the 1970 double die. That's right, this error occurs during the minting process when the coin die strikes the coin more than once, but slightly off-center. The result? Some of the letters or numbers on the coin appear doubled, especially in the words, Liberty, In God We Trust, and even the date itself. These doubling effects are not easy to spot with the naked eye, so using a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe is essential. But there's more. Some 1970 Lincoln pennies were struck on the wrong planchets, meaning the blank discs used to make the coin weren't actually intended for that denomination. For example, a few were mistakenly struck on dime planchets, making the coin thinner, lighter, and slightly smaller than a regular penny. These types of minting errors are incredibly rare and highly sought after because they're not supposed to exist at all. And then there's the off-center strike error, where the coin isn't properly aligned during the minting process. If you come across a 1970 penny where Lincoln's face or the lettering is noticeably shifted to one side, or even cut off, don't ignore it. It could be one of those off-center rarities. Another thing to keep your eye on is the small date versus large date variety. The 1970 Lincoln penny is more commonly known for this, but some collectors report similar subtle changes with Denver minted coins. The difference can be incredibly small, just a slight change in the shape or position of the numbers in the date, but in the world of numismatics, small changes can mean big money. So how do you know if your 1970 Lincoln penny is valuable? First, check the condition. Coins in mint state or uncirculated condition are always worth more. Look for sharp details, strong luster, and minimal wear. Second, examine the coin under magnification for doubling, off-center strikes, or incorrect planchets. And finally, compare your coin to known varieties online or take it to a professional coin dealer or grading service for verification. Over the years, these rare 1970 pennies have shown up at major auctions, and when they do, they get a lot of attention. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar, sometimes tens of thousands, for the right coin, especially if it's certified by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC and has that unmistakable minting error or rarity. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, one of the rarest 1970 Lincoln pennies, featuring a highly sought-after doubling error and preserved in pristine condition, was sold at auction for a jaw-dropping total of $84,000. Yes, that's right, $84,000. For a single penny. So before you drop that copper coin in a vending machine or overlook it in your change tray, take a second look. That little 1-cent piece might be your golden ticket. Now it's your turn. Have you ever come across a 1970 penny with unusual features? Maybe you've seen doubling, strange shapes, or odd textures. Let us know in the comments. Your coin could be the next big discovery. And if you have any questions about coins in your collection, drop them below. We read every comment, and your coin might be featured in an upcoming video. Top 3, we're talking about one of the most underestimated coins in US history. It's small, it's copper, and it's often ignored. But if you find the right version of the 1979 Lincoln penny with a D mint mark, you might just be holding on to a secret treasure worth far more than 1 cent. Yes, the 1979 D penny may look ordinary, but what lies beneath its surface could blow your mind. So sit tight and listen closely, because this little coin has a story, and for some lucky collectors, that story ends with an unbelievable payout. Let's start at the beginning. In 1979, the Denver Mint produced millions, yes, millions, of Lincoln cents. To the average person, they were just everyday coins, used in vending machines, dropped on sidewalks, or thrown in drawers and forgotten. But a tiny handful of these coins were struck with rare minting errors or odd varieties that make them incredibly valuable today, and the best part? Many of these errors are visible to the naked eye. If you know what you're looking for. So, what makes the 1979 D Lincoln penny so special? First, we need to talk about double die errors. This is one of the most exciting types of minting errors out there, and in 1979, a few pennies minted in Denver came out with clear doubling on the front of the coin. If you look closely, especially with a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe, you might see doubling in the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," or even in the date itself. These subtle but noticeable features instantly set the coin apart as a valuable collectible. Now here's something that really gets collectors talking: repunched mint marks. In the past, mint marks were manually punched into the coin dies, and sometimes, mistakes happened. On the 1979 D Lincoln cent, there are known examples of RPMs, or repunched mint marks, where the D was stamped more than once in slightly different positions. Under magnification, this can appear as a shadow or double outline around the letter D, and believe me, collectors go wild for these. Another feature that boosts value is the condition of the coin. A coin straight out of circulation with scratches, discoloration, or damage won't get much attention. But if you happen to have a 1979 D Lincoln cent in uncirculated or mint state condition, your chances of unlocking real value go way up. These coins maintain their original shine, sharp design details, and clean edges, traits that professional grading services look for when evaluating a coin's worth. Now let's take it a step further. A few rare specimens have been found that were struck on the wrong planchet. That means the blank disc used wasn't meant for a penny. Some 1979 D Lincoln pennies have been discovered struck on dime planchets, giving them a thinner shape, lighter weight, and a noticeable difference in size. If your penny feels lighter than usual or looks slightly off in color, don't ignore it. That could be a mistake from the mint, a mistake that's worth serious money. Collectors should also keep an eye out for off-center strikes and broad strikes, where the coin was not properly aligned in the press during minting. These result in coins with unusual shapes, missing edges, or distorted images, and guess what? These errors are incredibly collectible when found in good condition. You might be wondering, how do I know if my coin is one of the valuable ones? Great question. The best way to find out is to examine your coin with a magnifier. Focus on the mint mark, lettering, and date, compare it to known varieties and error types online, using sites like PCGS or NGC. If it looks promising, consider having your coin graded professionally. A certified coin in a high grade is worth significantly more than one with damage or wear. Now here's where things get really exciting. Over the years, coin collectors and dealers have unearthed rare 1979 D Lincoln pennies and brought them to auction. These aren't just collectors' tales, these are documented sales through respected auction houses. One such penny, featuring a dramatic error and preserved in outstanding condition, stunned the collecting world when it sold for an astonishing amount. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. A rare 1979 D Lincoln penny, showcasing a repunched mint mark and stunning doubling, authenticated and graded at the highest level, was sold for a jaw-dropping $74,000. That's right. A single penny, worth $74,000 in cash. Just imagine how many of these might still be out there, sitting quietly in someone's change jar, waiting to be discovered. So don't overlook that next penny you find. Flip it over. Look closely. You never know what secrets it might hold. Top 4, we're going to focus on a coin that most people overlook completely, the 1991 Lincoln penny with the D mint mark. It might be sitting quietly in your pocket, your drawer, or that old jar on the top shelf. But this seemingly ordinary coin holds secrets that only the sharpest collectors know how to find. By the time you finish watching this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, how to tell if your 1991 D penny is rare, and what specific features could make it extremely valuable. So make sure to watch until the end, because this coin has sold for a price that will leave you stunned. Let's dive in. 1991, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of 1-cent coins. These were your everyday pennies, used to buy gum, dropped on sidewalks, and forgotten in change trays. But in that massive production run, a tiny number of error coins made their way into circulation, and those are the ones collectors are now scrambling to find. So what makes a 1991 D Lincoln penny rare? It all starts with minting errors, small mistakes that occurred during the coin production process. These errors may seem like flaws, but in the world of coin collecting, they're gold. One of the most exciting and valuable types of errors is called a double die. This happens when the coin die, basically the stamp that imprints the design, shifts slightly between strikes. If your 1991 D penny has a double die error, you might see doubling in the lettering, especially in the words, Liberty, In God We Trust, or even in the date. These doubled features aren't easy to spot unless you're looking carefully, but once you notice them, you'll never unsee them. Another key error to look for is a repunched mint mark, often referred to by collectors as an RPM. Back in the day, the D mint mark for Denver was added manually to the die. If the engraver accidentally struck the mark twice, slightly off-center each time, it created a repunched mint mark. These RPMs are incredibly collectible, especially when they're in good condition. On a 1991 D penny, this may appear as a ghost-like second D, just behind or beneath the original, but it gets even better. Some 1991 D pennies were struck on the wrong metal planchets. That means they were mistakenly minted on blank discs meant for other coins, such as dimes or foreign currency. These rare mistakes make the coin thinner, lighter, and sometimes even a different color than usual. If you pick up a 1991 D penny and it feels off in weight or color, do not ignore it. You might be holding something extraordinary. Collectors also search for off-center strikes, where the coin's design is shifted or partially missing due to a misalignment during the minting process. These visibly flawed coins are rare and unique, and the more dramatic the misalignment, the higher the potential value, and of course, condition matters a lot. Coins in uncirculated or mint state condition, with little to no wear, shine brighter in the eyes of collectors. A rare error coin in poor shape may still be worth something, but a pristine specimen? That's where the real money comes in. Now let's talk about how to assess your coin. Start by checking for unusual markings or doubling with a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. They're inexpensive tools that every collector should have. Then, compare your coin with verified error examples from trusted websites like PCGS or NGC, or consult with a professional dealer. And here's something to really inspire you. A few extremely rare 1991 D Lincoln pennies have gone through professional grading and were discovered to have clear errors, some with doubled dies, others with dramatic off-center strikes or repunched mint marks. When these coins hit the auction block, collectors competed fiercely to own them, and now, the moment you've been waiting for, one exceptionally rare and well-preserved 1991 D Lincoln penny, featuring a powerful mint error and certified in top-tier condition, sold at auction for an astonishing $65,000. That's right, $65,000 for a coin that started as a humble cent. So next time you're counting your change or cleaning out your drawers, don't ignore the pennies, inspect them. Especially the 1991 D. You might be holding a coin that tells a story, and pays for a vacation, a car, or even part of your future. Now, we want to hear from you. Have you ever found a coin that looked strange, different, or just interesting? Do you think you've got a 1991 D with a rare error in your collection? Tell us in the comments. Top 5, we're talking about a penny that could be worth more than your monthly salary, or maybe even your dream vacation. Yes, we're talking about the 1980 Lincoln penny with the D mint mark, a coin that's often ignored, but in rare cases, can fetch an absolutely shocking price tag. So before you toss that old change into a Coinstar machine, give your pennies a second look, especially this one. Now, the year 1980 doesn't seem like that long ago to many of us. But in numismatic terms, coin collecting terms, it's already over 4 decades old. And with age comes rarity, but not just because of how long the coin has been around. What makes some of the 1980 Lincoln pennies valuable isn't just their age, it's the errors and specific minting mistakes that slipped past quality control, and those little imperfections. They can make all the difference. So let's dig into what you should be looking for if you happen to find one of these copper-colored beauties. First, a little background. The D on the coin stands for the Denver Mint, which produced millions of Lincoln cents in 1980. Most of them are completely normal and worth, well, a cent. But hidden among them are rare varieties with minting errors that collectors will pay top dollar for. One of the most desirable errors found on the 1980 penny is the double die. This happens when the die strikes the coin more than once, but slightly misaligned, resulting in visible doubling in the design. You'll want to look closely at areas like the words, Liberty, In God We Trust, and especially the date, 1980. If you notice slight shadows or thickened edges on the letters or numbers, you might be looking at a double die error, a highly collectible feature. Another major error to watch for is the RPM, or repunched mint mark. In some 1980 Lincoln cents, the D mint mark was mistakenly stamped more than once. This means you could see a faint second D slightly above, below, or to the side of the original. These repunched marks are considered minting anomalies, and depending on the condition of the coin, they can add significant value. And let's not forget off-center strikes. This is when the coin wasn't properly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted. Some off-center 1980 pennies are so dramatic that Lincoln's face is only halfway on the coin. These are eye-catching and highly desirable, especially if the date is still visible. But wait, there's more. A few incredibly rare examples of the 1980 penny have been discovered struck on the wrong planchet. That means the coin was mistakenly minted on a blank meant for a different denomination, like a dime or foreign coin. These error coins are lighter or smaller than a regular penny and often have a completely different tone or coloration. If you ever come across a 1980 penny that looks or feels unusual, don't ignore it. It could be a one-of-a-kind error. Now, let's talk condition, because it matters more than you might think. A rare coin with an error is exciting, but if it's scratched, worn, or damaged, the value goes down. However, if you find a rare error in mint or uncirculated condition, that's where the big money comes in. To truly know what you've got, use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to inspect for doubling, mint mark anomalies, or planchet errors. Then, compare your coin with certified examples on professional sites like PCGS or NGC. And if your coin looks promising, send it in for grading and authentication. A certified coin carries far more value in the collector's market. Let's bring this closer to home. Collectors across the country have discovered rare 1980 pennies tucked away in old coin jars, inherited collections, or even in spare change. And when those coins feature strong, recognizable mint errors and are graded in high condition, they have gone on to sell at auction for mind-blowing prices. So what's the highest known sale of a 1980 Lincoln penny with a rare error in top condition? Here it is, the moment you've been waiting for. One spectacular 1980 Lincoln penny, featuring a bold mint error and preserved in brilliant uncirculated condition, sold at auction for a staggering $69,000. That's right, $69,000. For a penny. Now you see why every coin has a story, and some can change yours. If you've got a 1980 Lincoln penny lying around, check it. Examine every detail. And if you find something interesting, drop a comment below. Share your photos, your stories, or your questions. We love hearing from fellow collectors. Who knows? You might already be holding a hidden gem. Top 6, we're sitting among those copper coins could be a humble-looking 1973 Lincoln cent with a little D under the date. But here's the twist, it's not just any penny. That small D stands for Denver, and a few of these coins, minted in the millions, turned out to be accidental masterpieces worth far more than 1 cent. So stick with me, because we're uncovering the secrets of the 1973 D. Lincoln penny, a coin that could be worth more than you'd ever imagine. Let's rewind to the early 1970s. The year is 1973. The Vietnam War is still ongoing, gas is about 39 cents a gallon, and inflation is starting to creep in. The U.S. Mint in Denver is busy producing millions of Lincoln cents, more than 300 million, to be exact. The penny features the familiar bust of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. It's a coin so common that most people would never give it a second glance, but in the world of coin collecting, common doesn't always mean worthless, especially when a few rare errors make certain versions of this coin extremely valuable. Let's talk about those errors. Point 1. Of the first things you want to look for is the double die error. This occurs when the coin's design is struck twice by the die, just slightly off alignment. The result? A visible doubling effect, especially on key features like the words, Liberty, In God We Trust, or even the numbers in the date, 1973. If your penny has that ghost-like shadow around the lettering, it could be one of the rare double dies, and trust me, collectors go crazy for that kind of mistake. Next, be on the lookout for RPMs, or repunched mint marks. In 1973, the D mint mark was still being added to dies by hand. Sometimes, mint workers accidentally punched the mint mark twice in slightly different positions. On the coin, this looks like a faint second D peeking out from behind or beneath the main one. These RPMs are small, but they are mighty when it comes to collector demand, and let's not forget one of the most exciting errors, off-center strikes. If the blank planchet wasn't perfectly aligned in the minting press, the result is a coin where the design is noticeably shifted or even partially missing. A dramatic off-center error, especially one where the date is still visible, can skyrocket a coin's value. Another incredibly rare variety is the wrong planchet error. That's when a 1973 D penny was accidentally struck on a blank meant for a foreign coin or a different U.S. denomination, like a dime. These coins are often lighter in weight, thinner, and have unusual coloring. If you've got a 1973 D penny that just doesn't look or feel right, pay attention. You could be holding a mistake that slipped through the cracks and made it into circulation. So how do you know if you found a valuable 1973 D penny? Start by checking for visible errors using a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Look closely at the mint mark, the date, and the lettering. If something looks off, unusual, or doubled, you might be onto something. Next, weigh the coin. A standard 1973 D penny should weigh around 3.11 grams. If your coin is significantly lighter or heavier, that's a big clue it could be struck on the wrong planchet. Then, compare your coin to authenticated error examples on trusted sites like PCGS or NGC, or even visit a local coin shop to get a professional opinion. If your coin looks promising, it's time to consider having it graded. A coin in mint state or uncirculated condition, especially one with a rare error, is far more valuable than one that's scratched, worn, or damaged. Now, here's the really exciting part. Over the years, sharp-eyed collectors have found 1973 D Lincoln pennies with stunning mint errors and sent them in for authentication. When these coins are verified and graded, they've gone on to sell for impressive sums at major coin auctions, and I do mean impressive. In one such case, a 1973 D Lincoln penny featuring a bold double die error and in pristine, uncirculated condition was sold for an absolutely incredible sum. The kind of price tag you'd never expect from a coin that most people pass over every day. So here it is, the jaw-dropping moment you've been waiting for. One rare and well-preserved 1973 D Lincoln penny, featuring a certified mint error and brilliant condition, fetched a staggering $74,000 at auction. That's right, $74,000. For a penny. Now tell me, when's the last time you really looked at your spare change? There are millions of coins out there, and only a few contain these rare flaws. But those few? They're out there. Maybe in your old piggy bank. Maybe in a roll of pennies you picked up from the bank. Maybe even in your pocket right now. So start hunting, and if you've got a 1973 D penny that looks unusual, or if you've ever found a strange coin you want to know more about, drop a comment below. Let us know what you've discovered, and ask your questions. We love helping fellow collectors and showcasing viewer finds in future videos. Top 7. This last video is going to make you look at your spare change in a whole new way. We're diving deep into one of the most surprising coins ever produced by the US Mint, an ordinary-looking penny that might just be worth a fortune if you know what to look for. Get ready, because we're about to unlock the secrets behind the 1981 Lincoln penny with the D Mint mark, a coin that was mass-produced, widely circulated, and often overlooked, yet in the right condition and with the right error, has sold for tens of thousands of dollars. Yes, this small, coppery coin could be hiding a huge secret. So make sure you watch this video until the very end, because the final price tag on this coin might just leave you speechless. Let's start with a bit of background. The year was 1981. Ronald Reagan had just taken office as president, MTV hadn't launched yet, and gas cost less than $1. Meanwhile, over in Denver, the US Mint was hard at work striking millions of Lincoln cents, each bearing a small D beneath the date to signify its origin. Now here's the twist: most people see the 1981 D penny and think nothing of it. It's copper-plated zinc, weighs about 2.5 grams, and has Lincoln's profile on the obverse, the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Just a basic penny, right? Well, not quite. Among the many millions produced, a few rare 1981 D pennies were struck with unusual errors, tiny flaws that happened during the minting process, making them incredibly valuable to collectors today. So what kinds of errors make this coin so special? Let's start with one of the most sought-after types of minting mistakes, the double die error. This occurs when the die, the tool used to stamp the design, shifts slightly between strikes, causing parts of the design to appear doubled. On the 1981 D penny, the doubling might show up in the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," or the date, 1981. You don't need special equipment to spot it, but a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe makes it easier to see. If your penny has slightly thick or shadowed letters, don't ignore it. You might be looking at a valuable double die variety. Next, let's talk about repunched mint marks, or RPMs. Back in the early 80s, mint marks were still being hand-punched into dies. Sometimes, the D was punched twice in slightly different locations, resulting in a noticeable ghost effect or doubling on the mint mark. If you zoom in and see a faint second D overlapping the first, congratulations, you found a rare variation that collectors love. Another error to keep an eye out for? The off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned in the press during minting. The result is a coin with a shifted design, where part of Lincoln's face or the date might be missing. The more dramatic the off-center strike, and the more visible the date, the more valuable the coin becomes. And here's one of the most fascinating types of mistakes, the wrong planchet error. A planchet is the blank metal disc that gets turned into a coin. In rare cases, a 1981 D penny was struck on the wrong planchet, meaning it was made on a blank meant for a different denomination, or even a foreign coin. These coins will often feel lighter, thinner, or smaller than normal, and may have unusual coloring or edge shapes. That if your 1981 D penny feels strange in the hand or looks different than others, pay close attention. It might not be an ordinary cent at all. Now, let's talk about grading and condition, because even with a rare error, the value depends heavily on the coin's state. A coin that's heavily worn from circulation will always be worth less than a coin that looks almost brand new. That's why collectors and dealers send coins to third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC, which inspect the coin, certify its authenticity, and assign it a grade from 1 to 70. Coins graded MS65 or higher, that's mint state 65+, can command serious premiums, especially if they also feature a known error. So what's the best way to inspect your 1981 D penny? Start by using a jeweler's loupe or magnifier. Check the date, the lettering, and especially the mint mark. Look for doubling, shadowing, unusual thickness, or off-center strikes. If something looks strange or unique, compare it to images of known errors online or visit a coin dealer for a second opinion. And now, let's bring in some real-world numbers to show you what's possible. Over the years, a few rare 1981 D pennies featuring certified mint errors and in uncirculated condition have appeared at professional coin auctions. When these coins are authenticated and placed on the block, bidding wars break out, because serious collectors understand how rare and valuable these mistakes really are. So, what's the highest known price paid for a 1981 D Lincoln penny? Get ready, because here comes the number you've been waiting for, one incredibly rare and beautifully preserved 1981 D Lincoln penny, featuring a dramatic error and graded in near-perfect condition, sold for a staggering $70,000 at auction. That's right, $70,000. For a single 1-cent coin, and yes, coins like that are still out there, sitting in old jars, tucked away in drawers, or mixed in with everyday pocket change. So what are you waiting for? Go check your coins. Search your stash. You never know what treasures are hiding in plain sight, and now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever come across a strange or unusual 1981 D penny? Do you have questions about coins in your collection? Drop a comment below. I'd love to feature your finds in a future video and help you figure out what they might be worth. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because we're just getting started. Every coin has a story, and here on this channel, we help you discover the ones that could change your life. Thanks for watching, and remember, your next lucky penny might be worth more than a brand new car. Happy collecting!